grew up in a small village in Germany, right after the war, and at that time, for some reason, when I was 11 years old, I went to my parents and said, I want to work in the hotel business. They said, okay, I mean, you're like, okay, and I kept on saying it. But at that time, there was no honor in such a job. There was honor in working in a technical job in Germany. If you were, the dream of any parents would be that a kid would be an engineer or an architect or even an electrician or a carpenter. Those were honorable things to do in Germany. Working with your hands. My father always said working with your hands, and he didn't think working in hotel business that you work with your hands. But anyway, so I begged to work in a business. I begged and begged and begged, and finally my parents figured out how to help me with this. They got advice from the government agency. They found a job for me in the hotel business when I was 14. So I left home when I was 14 and worked about 100 miles away in a very fine hotel. Why 100 miles? That was the best hotel in the state, where they found a job for me to work as a busboy. My mother took me there, but before already they told me, this is a hotel where we could never go. This is a hotel, a fine place, a very fine place where we couldn't even go there. The only fine people go there, important people go there. When I arrived there, when my mother took me there, the general manager told me the same thing. And here I'm working. The next day I was working with my knees shaken in the restaurant for the first time. And I was lucky. There was a maître d' who was a person of excellence, truly a human being of excellence. In fact, he made it clear to us that he didn't come to work, that he came to work to create excellence in what he's doing. He made that very clear. At the time, of course, it didn't mean that much to us, but it impacted my life. I went the typical German upbringing. You work and you go to a school once a week in the métier that you're in business involved in. I went to hotel school once a week, Wednesdays. After about 2 years, I was just about 16. The teacher of our class asked that we now write an essay as to what we now feel about our business. 3 pages essay, write what you now feel now that you're 2 years working in the business, all from the other hotels, the kids go into that class. I'm thinking what I'm going to write. When I walked the next day or even that night, I remember in the restaurant, I was working in a corner over here. I could feel the maître d' had just entered the room. Important, because he had a presence you could feel when he was there. He had truly a presence of being and creating excellence. And as I watched him, it hit me for the first time. I had seen it, it didn't hit me before. He just went to a table and talked to that table, and I could see the guests on that table were proud that he came to the table. He explained wine and food. Incidentally, happened to be a group of English-speaking guests. Went over here and talked to people again in German. And I could see, whenever he went to a table, the guests were kind of proud that he came to them. And I said, wow, this is a reversal. They're supposed to be important and not we. And it became clear. The guests thought he is the most important person in the room. So did we, the employees. And I wrote an essay around that. And in fact, I named it, "We are ladies and gentlemen, serving ladies and gentlemen." If we are excellent at what you are doing, we define ourselves as ladies and gentlemen. Working and creating excellence is defining yourself. And I wrote that story, the fact that no matter what we do, if we are excellent in what we are doing, we get respect. We earn respect and recognition, and in fact, we are defining ourselves when we work. I didn't say it at the time, but I said today, where else would we define ourselves? If not at work? At home while we watch TV? Not likely. Because the most time of our waking time we spend at work. Why not use that time not just to work, but to create excellence and define ourselves as people of excellence? Basically, that was my story. I delivered my essay. A week later, I came to class again. I walked into the class. All teachers from the school were in the classroom, and the students and some other students, and my teacher read to everybody my story. That's why it impacted me. Otherwise, I would have forgotten about it. But I also had an A, which I never before had, never after had, and that's a true story. So it impacted.